Hi, I'm Julie with Southern Charm Wreaths, and today I want to show you how to make this adorable Deco Mesh snowman wreath. I apologize for the audio on this video. It was messed up, so I'm having to do a voiceover. But if you want to know where I purchased the supplies, just head over to my blog at southerncharmwreaths.com/blog. Here's a list of items you will need. A 24-inch white work wreath form, a white work garland, or you can use pipe cleaners or zip ties if you don't have that. Two and a half rolls of white 10-inch Deco mesh, 26 inches of white 21-inch Deco mesh, a large orange chenille stem. It reads 6 feet on the label. It's about 1 inch wide. Two 2-inch black pom-poms, four 1-inch black pom-poms, 4 to 5 black chenille stems, and 2 to 3 white chenille stems, one top hat, two and a half inch wired ribbon in any pattern you prefer. I chose red. A 12-inch cake board to use as a stencil. A 12 by 18-inch white craft foam. Scissors, rotary cutter, awl, wire cutters, hot glue gun, and artificial greenery. The first thing to do is to fluff the wreath. When you first get your wreath, it will be flat, and you need to fluff the wreath and make sure to pull the twist ties up, out, and away from the wreath base. Using a piece of the work garland, we are going to form a cross in the center of the wreath. Use wire cutters to trim off any excess twist ties at the end of the garland to reveal a long piece of wire. Use this long piece of wire to wire around the inner ring of the work wreath form. Stretch the garland across to the other side. Then clip off any excess and secure it around the work wreath form. Do you want to make sure that it is secure and snug enough so that it doesn't move? What we're doing is creating a base in the center of the wreath so that we can attach Deco mesh into the center. We're going to do the same thing going across the wreath in the other direction with another piece of garland. Cut off any twist ties you do not need, including the one in the center, since we already have one. Again, if you do not have this garland, you can use floral wire, double up white pipe cleaner, or use zip ties. Just make sure that it's white since it will be seen from the front. Use the center twist ties to secure where the garland cross pieces meet. So now what we're going to do is cut the mesh. We're going to stack the two rolls of the 10-inch Deco mesh on top of each other to speed up the process. Save that third mesh for filling in the bare spots. I like to roll the Deco mesh out and use an anchor like my stapler. I use a rotary cutter to cut the strips 10 inches long. Put your strips to the side. When you use a rotary cutter, it makes the cut cleaner, which helps with the unraveling that can happen with Deco mesh. There will still be some unraveling, but not as much as if you were going to use a pair of scissors to cut the mesh. Keep doing this until all of the deco mesh is used on both rolls. Now let's attach the deco mesh to the wreath. What you do is you separate each of the strips so that you're working with a single piece, and then you just scrunch it up into the center, and you take 3 pieces of mesh into one twist tie. I like to work from the outer ring, but you can start anywhere you would like. Secure the mesh in the twist ties, working all around the wreath. The method used on this wreath is called the ruffle technique. As you can see, when you're working, you're going to have some strings where the deco mesh is unraveling. Just don't worry about that right now. We can cut that off later. Continue working all the way around the wreath until the wreath is filled in with all of the deco mesh. This is what the wreath looks like after you have attached the deco mesh. You will probably have some holes and bare spots. Use the extra deco mesh to fill in. Sometimes I like to turn the wreath over from the back and you can see where the bare spots are. Since you don't have a twist tie, use half a pipe cleaner to attach it to the wreath. You can use 3 pieces of mesh for larger holes and 1 or 2 pieces of mesh for smaller holes. Make sure all of the mesh is facing upward and not stuck under a twist tie. There will be holes that you've created where the cross piece and the center meet. So you have the cross and then you have some holes on either side. To get around that, what you're going to do is move the pipe cleaner towards the end of the deco mesh before securing it to the wreath. This creates longer pieces. So make sure those longer pieces are what actually fill in those holes. You want to make sure you have enough mesh in the center of the wreath because this is where the facial features will be. So there's the hole that I was talking about. And that long piece of deco mesh is what's going to fill it in. Now, some people like a really full wreath and they can use up to 4 rolls of mesh to make this wreath. I don't really think it's necessary. I just use 2 full rolls and then a third roll, not even a half of that roll, to go in and just fill in any of the holes. Continue doing this throughout the wreath, filling in any holes that you might see. To make the nose, use the large orange chenille stem and cut it 24 inches long. Now wrap it around the cardboard center of a deco mesh roll in order to get it coiled. This just helps to get it shaped. Remove it from the cardboard and use your hands to make the tip of the nose tighter and the base of the nose wider. So basically we're shaping it into the shape of a carrot. I leave a 3-inch tail on the end. I'm going to use this to wrap around the center of the wreath form. Play around with it for a little bit until you like the shape of it. And there you have it, Frosty's nose. To make the bow for the hat, wrap the ribbon around the base of the hat, leaving a tail. The length of my ribbon is a little over a yard, but measure out what fits your hat best. Tie the knot in the front of the hat and put the hat aside. To form the center of the bow, make a loop, pinch, and pleat it. This forms the center of the bow. Make a loop by pulling the ribbon down and underneath. This puts the ribbon, the nice side of the ribbon, on top. I measured it and it measures about 3 inches long. I twist it and then make the next loop. Again, 3 inches long. And then push it underneath my finger. Now I twisted the ribbon again and make another loop. Again, 3 inches. I keep making 3-inch loops on either side of the center. Keep pinching it and putting it underneath my fingers. You don't need to hold the ribbon so tight that you get cramps, but just enough so that it doesn't fall out. So there are a total of 6 loops and a center. Now the last loop that I make is a little longer, and this is going to actually be the tail of the bow once it's cut in half. And then I just push that underneath my fingers like I'm making another loop. Cut off the ribbon. Use the wire to run it through the center hole and around the back, making sure to catch all the layers of the bow. While holding the ribbon and wire tight, use your hands to fluff and maneuver the loops. I do this for all my bows. This way I can shape my bow before I twist it tightly. Then I just turn the bow over and I twist the bow, making sure that it gets wired tight. We don't want it slipping out. To attach the bow to the hat, all I did was run the wire underneath the knotted sash and twist the wire. Cut the wire short and push the wire underneath. Cut the tail shorter on the sash and the bow, and fluff. Make a wreath hanger using a chenille stem. Before adding the hanger, make sure that one of the twist ties is in the top left of the wreath. This is where the hat will go. Just run the wire underneath the wreath frame and twist it back up, and then twist the 2 tails together. Wrap the excess around the wreath frame. Attach the carrot to the center of the wreath by pushing the end through the front of the mesh towards the back. Once you get it where you like it, just turn the wreath over and wrap the end around the wire on the back of the wreath. Turn the wreath back over and use the twist ties that are in the center of the wreath and run it through the center of the carrot. This helps to support the carrot's weight. This is a piece of Deco mesh, the 21-inch, and it's about 24 to 36 inches long. And I just gathered it in the center, and I'm going to attach it to the wreath where I want the hat to go. So I untwist the twist ties and place the Deco mesh in there and twist it back. This added mesh will help support the weight of the hat. So then I get the hat and I place it on the wreath and I just get the position. Try to measure where I want the holes to be placed in my hat. So I take off the hat and I use a punch or a awl to put holes and pierce the fabric to put holes in the hat. So I make 2 holes on each side of the hat. I make sure that the holes go underneath the sash because I want the sash to cover up the holes. Sometimes it's tricky, but once you get the holes in, you just thread the black pipe cleaner into the holes. It takes patience. So once I get one side, I turn it over and I do the exact same thing on the other side. Then I attach a pipe cleaner in the back. Again, this is underneath the sash, so at the base of the hat. As you can see, I've attached 3 pipe cleaners. Now I need to attach a 4th pipe cleaner, and this is on the brim of the hat. So again, I make 2 holes and thread the pipe cleaner through those holes. So now I place the hat back on top of the wreath. Make sure to put the mesh underneath or inside the hat. Twist the pipe cleaners on the side of the hat onto the wreath frame. I don't tie them down all the way tightly at first, but just enough to hold them in place. Once those are wired, I then wire the pipe cleaner that's on the back of the hat. Again, I'm wrapping it around the wreath frame. So here, as you can see, I've attached it in 3 places. And then I go back once I like the position and tighten the wires more. I then lay the wreath down and bend the hat back so that it will lay flush when it's hanging on the door. I cut the chenille stem short. Once I put it back up there, I realized the hat was still a little floppy. So I secured the front by punching 2 holes in the front and using a black chenille stem and wired it through. And then I made sure it came through the back and wired it around the wreath frame. This made the hat very secure. So now it's wired all the way around. I cut a piece of artificial greenery. This is pine, but you can use holly or whatever you have on hand. And I just wanted to position it first to see if I liked it. And then I hot glued the tip and put it underneath the bow and the sash. I took the cake circle and I used it as a template to draw a circle onto the foam, and then I cut the circle out. If you don't have a cake circle, you can use something else. I turned the wreath over and positioned the foam where I liked it. And then I put some hot glue on the foam, just a little bit on the top, and I secured it on the top, making sure that the glue dried. Once the top was dried, I just took the laid it down and put more glue on the bottom. And so I tacked down the bottom of the foam. And then that's all I do is I just kept tacking it down in places. So once that was done, I did it on the sides, tacked down the hot glue on, and I'm basically gluing the foam to the needle ties on the frame. So I did it on the other side as well. So now it's glued in 4 places. Once those are set, I went back through and I glued it in between those glue spots. So then it was glued a total of 8 places. Now I clean up the front of the wreath. I use the wire cutters and I trim some of the twist ties shorter if they're interfering with some of the elements, and then I take the scissors and I trim off any of the frays that are too long, where some of the frayings happened. And then I make sure to fluff the bow, and I add more Deco mesh to some of the holes. I do hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you have any questions, just comment below and I'll be happy to answer them. You can learn more about making and selling Deco Mesh wreaths in my ebook, LearnDecoMeshWreaths.com. Happy wreathing!